Hello everybody, my name is Ultimo1125. If you guys recognize me or at least know what my video contacts are, I do play games. I'm still trying to get some games edited and uploaded. Been kind of procrastinating even now. I'm sorry. Anyway, so New Year's already went by. It's already January. Not even the beginning. Again, sorry. So, I'm still gonna continue recording my videos. I think I'm gonna be cutting out of live streaming because trying to juggle between those two is kind of actually much more difficult than I thought. So, this video is gonna be a story that I've actually decided to make my New Year's resolution on. So hopefully by uploading this now, it'll give me the encouragement to continue on and not procrastinate. Which, to be honest, probably is going to still happen. But I'm not going to try to commit this on every once a week. I'll try to do this at least once a month. Okay? At least once a month, I'll have the next part of my story uploaded. So during this whole video, in the background, I'm going to have a random music. Don't know, probably gonna have it in the description, so look forward to that, and also a clip of my gameplay in one of my games. If you guys want to see that, just let me know and I'll get that uploaded. But until then, let's get my New Year's resolution going, shall we? Yay! So this story, me and my friend, I had my friends brainstorm this with me. So we decided to call this Unjust Gospel. Not sure if that's gonna stick by, but anyway, let's get going with the story and not us dilly-dally anymore, because I already have. Anyway, so here's the story. Inside a room, there's two people sitting apart from each other. The one is sitting on a high chair surrounded by walls, while the other is sitting across from him through a glass window. The man sitting in the room, surrounded by walls, sits quietly on his chair, keeping his 3 pairs of black flames, making a shape of wings while scratching his head. His hand passing past one of the 2 ear-shaped black flames before fixing his glasses into place. With his blood-colored eyes, he notices the person through the window, also wearing glasses covering his sharp but relaxed eyes, and short black hair filling some switches, seeing what each switch does. The man stares at him, wondering what he was doing there for a while, before looking around the room. Inside the room, he notices a microphone that was hanging in front of him with a pair of headphones sitting behind him. Realizing what kind of room he was placed in, he looks over to the man behind the window. Robert, the man speaks into the microphone. Why am I in a recording booth? Hold on, Josh. Give me a sec. I almost got a good general idea what all these do, Robert replies. Oh, I'm sorry. I just asked 'cause you called me early in the morning asking me to get my ass over here as fast as possible, giving me zero explanation to why, Josh said, containing his rage towards Robert. Didn't you read everyone's text yesterday? Robert asked, finally finishing setting up the controls. What text? Josh asked before hearing his phone notify him that he has some new text messages. Josh takes out his phone and sees 5 people sent a text today, each of the texts telling him to meet up with them in the recording booth, with an address attached to it. Oh, now I see them, Josh says, filling the air around him with distress. And where is everyone else? They're on their way right now, Robert replies. So, exactly what are we recording anyway? Josh asks. We're recording a story, Robert answers. What story? And why am I telling it? Josh asks. Robert looks over to Josh, relaxed on his chair. The story is about how you, or more accurately, how you became the demon lord of hell. Silence fills the room while Josh looks confused at Robert, wondering if this was a joke that he planned out or not. No, come on, let's start recording, Robert spoke out. Hold on. Why should I be telling the story? You were there for a good majority of it, Josh says. Yeah, but it's best to get the person who actually physically experienced them to tell the story. You know, like those legendary heroes tell their tale to people so they are remembered for a long time. Another voice spoke out from the entrance. Entering in the room was a guy with long hair that reaches down to his shoulder, his eyes looking very tired, as if he hasn't slept in a couple of weeks, and his skin slightly whiter than average, making him almost like he could be mistaken for a vampire. "Oh, hey, Frederick," Robert waves to Frederick. "Hey, Robert. So now you know why you are recording in the booth instead of one of us in there," he replies. "You know, if I wasn't who I was, I wouldn't be able to hear you at all, I hope you know." Josh replies, thankful that he was able to hear Frederick in the other room. Frederick walks up to the machine and points over to the button that Robert was using to talk to Josh the whole time. "Do you have a problem wanting to tell your story of how you became a god?" Frederick asked. "Well, no, I don't. It's just I have other stuff to do, I hope you guys know," Josh said. "Don't worry about it. Someone got you covered," Robert replies with confidence. "That's what I'm worried about. And besides, there's really some parts that I can't recall what happened unless someone already told me before or after it has happened," Josh says. "Makes sense, but that's why we are here to fill in what you missed out or what you can't remember," Frederick reassures Josh. "I guess. By the way, where's Petrie?" Josh asks. "Josh, stop being a giant bitch dude already!" A loud voice shouts from the door as another person enters in with Robert. He enters the room with Frederick and Robert entering in with his short red hair almost touching the top of the entrance and a beefy-looking body, seeming like he was ready to charge into anything that throws at him. "Ah, there he is," Josh says, waving to Petrie as he joins up with Robert and Frederick. "Are you going to start the story or not?" Petrie asks. "Well, since most of us are here now, and I can't imagine the price to rent this place was cheap, so might as well," Josh replies, putting the headphones on. "That's right, so let's do this," Robert said, preparing himself on the controls. It was a nice day in May, one of those nice hot summer days where the only escape from the heat was under the coverage of clouds or under their shades. Not too cloudy, but still had clouds for the hot summer day. There inside a high school, Robert, Frederick, Petrie, and I were all together in the cafeteria playing some card games with one another. We were playing our card games of Yu-Gi-Oh! At the same time eating our lunches. None of us were talking to each other due to being so engrossed in our game, trying to finish it before the next bell rang to announce the end of the lunchtime. As time went by, the loud ringing of the bell finally rang, and we all breathed out in a relief as we just finished our games of cards with one another. "So see you guys after the class?" I asked everyone, picking up my things in my backpack. "Yeah, sure," Robert replied, grabbing his tray. "Yeah," Frederick followed behind Robert. "Yep," Petrie answered. We left the cafeteria into the crowded hallway, trying to move past other students either trying to get to their next class or to the cafeteria. Before long, we separated. I make it to my classroom after splitting with the group, quickly heading over to an empty desk in the room and waited for the class to start. Looking around, I see many other students out in the hallway talking to one another and others entering the classroom that I was in. Looking out the door, I see a girl with black, long, flowing hair, wearing clothes styled like the models that you see in magazines. She looks around in the room for a while till our eyes met each other. "Hey, Josh!" the girl waved over to me with a smile. Hearing her calling out to me, I waved back, returning her with a smile. Seeing her cheery smile made me feel happy inside, but the feeling went away immediately after noticing the girl standing behind her. Looking over the girl's shoulder, I see the other girl, almost the same height to her, with her short blonde hair, wearing short pants and a sports jacket over her shirt, staring at me with disgust. I stopped waving to the girl, looking away from them, avoiding the stare, as both the girls walks up to me at my desk. "Hey, Josh, how have you been?" the black-haired girl asked, happy to see me. "I'm doing alright. How about you, Amelia?" I replied. "Oh, come on, you could call me Emily," Amelia says, giving me a small pout. "I would, but I get a feeling that someone here doesn't want me to call you by that name," I said, looking over to the other girl. "And what's that supposed to mean?" the other girl said, standing between me and Amelia. "Nothing. Just seems like you don't want me to be all friendly with Amelia," I said, shrugging my shoulders. "Yeah, that's right. I don't want her to hang around with a pervert like you," she says, pointing towards me. Who are you calling a pervert? I said in retaliation. You, of course, she said, standing her ground. I never did anything of sort, I said, standing up from my chair. Yeah, right, she said. The girl and I stared at each other with frustration towards one another until Amelia split us apart. Now, calm down, both of you, Amelia said, sighing for a brief before smiling to us. So, it's always nice to see how close you two are. There's no way I'm close to this guy, the girl spoke out. Would say the same about you, Natasha, I mumbled to myself, Natasha staring at me again with frustration expressed in her eyes. Now, you two, calm down, Amelia said, stopping us from getting into another argument. What's your deal anyway? Thinking to myself, the bell rang out indicating to us that the class is starting. Hearing the bell, the three of us looked at one another. Guess class is starting, I said to them. Guess so. I'll talk to you later then, Amelia said. Amelia and Natasha both left my desk and walked to empty desks that were behind me. I sat back in my desk, and as the teacher started the lecture, throughout the lecture the teacher started talking about the people or the olden days worshipping many different gods, and while I was taking notes that might be useful for upcoming tests, I started wondering to myself, do gods really exist? And if so, would there be a lot of them, or just a few? I wondered to myself throughout the lecture, imagining all the gods that I could think of off the top of my head, and what they could do, till suddenly I mumbled to myself, what would it be like to actually be a god? I started imagining myself as one of the gods among them, seeing myself worshipped by many followers, but eventually started imagining all the responsibility and most of them would have, and the expectation, before I felt a soft tap on my shoulder. I looked over my shoulder and noticed it was Amelia who was trying to get my attention. Yeah? I asked, wondering what Amelia wanted. Josh, class is already over, Amelia replies. I looked around the room, noticing that people were already walking out the door, heading to their next class. When did class end? I stood up in panic, dropping most of my school supplies to the floor, and I looked at Amelia all embarrassed. Amelia looks at me and giggles a little bit, seeing of how much I was stumbling in my desk. Hearing her giggle made me flustered, making it difficult for me to look up. Sorry, I didn't notice class was already over, Amelia, I said, picking up my notes. It's no problem at all, Amelia replies. You can always count on me to watch your back. Thanks, I said, feeling a little better from her words. Hey, Emily, Natasha spoke out. Amelia looks over to Natasha, waiting for her at the door to the classroom. Come on, Emily, we gotta go, or we're gonna be late. Forget him already, Natasha said. Okay, be right there, Amelia says, grabbing her backpack. I'll see you in the next class, Josh. As I watched her rush over to Natasha, I noticed the mean look that Natasha was giving me, again, making me look away. After the two left the room, I gathered all my supplies and quickly head out to my last class for the day. As I started to walk down the crowded hallway of students trying to get by each other to reach either their lockers or their classroom, I started to wonder again of what I was thinking of back inside the classroom. What would it be like to be a god? As I walked down the hallway to my locker to grab the required books for my next class, I laughed to myself, remembering of all the downside being a god would be. It'd be a really inconvenient, that's for sure. No way I want to be one, I thought to myself, and there's no way I could be one anyway since gods don't exist, brushing the thought away before I heard someone's voice echo in my head. I don't know where I am. Mom, Dad, where are you? I looked around wondering who said that, but I looked around wondering who said that, but I couldn't look for long due to time running out, so I quickly grabbed the books that I needed and rushed over to class. Barely making it in time, I walked to my seat, breathing heavily, feeling a relief that I made it in time. After a while in class, as I take notes from the lecture, the voice that I heard in the hallway still lingered in my head. I started wondering who said that, and started to wonder if anyone else heard it. I looked around as the teacher had his back towards the class. I noticed something about Natasha that caught my attention. She looked a bit on edge, like she got some bad news or something happened, and she doesn't know the results of that something is yet. What's up with her right now? As I looked around some more to see if anyone else was acting weird, but as it turns out, only Natasha was the only one acting the weirdest. I wonder if she heard that voice too, I said to myself as I turned to the front and noticed teachers in front of me. I screamed in surprise to see the teacher suddenly standing in front of me, at the same time jumping out of my seat. So, Is there something that is more important than this class, Josh? The teacher asked me. I replied, unable to say a single word. Well, I hope whatever you are trying to find will help you in your next test that will be coming up next week. The teacher walked away from my desk back to the board as the students in the classroom started laughing. But just before he made it to the front of the classroom, he stopped and looked over to me. I will see you after class, Josh, he said to me. As I put my head down in shame, I look over to Amelia, seeing her laughing along with the class, making my mood feel even more depressed. I sat back down in my seat and the rest of the time went by. The students left the room after the bell rang, leaving me and the teacher alone in the room. Josh, is there something bothering you? The teacher asked me. I looked away from the teacher, feeling hesitant to tell him anything. Seeing me hesitating to tell, the teacher sighs deeply and thinks for a moment, leaving nothing but silence in the room. Josh, I don't know what's been going on with you, but your grades have been dropping a bit. I know, I said, keeping my head down. You're already a senior, so you should start thinking about your future, the teacher says. I know, I replied, avoiding to look straight to him. I'm not trying to force you to do something you don't want to, but I want you to have an idea of what you want to be in the future, okay? The teacher asked. I'll keep it in mind, I replied. I just want you to know that you still have a bright future for yourself, so please think about what you want to do in the future, the teacher said. I understand, I said, looking over to the door. Alright, you're free to go. I'm sorry for holding you in class a bit longer than you wanted to, he said, letting me head out. It's okay, I said, rushing to the door. I walked out of the classroom, sighing out of relief while I headed over to my locker to put away my supplies from this class. Not like I could tell you that I heard something before I came to class, but have no idea where it came from, I mumbled to myself as I followed the students through the hallway. Hey Josh, I heard a voice call out behind me. Looking over behind me, I find Amelia and Natasha rushing over to me. So what did the teacher say to you? Amelia asks me, worried if I was in trouble. Nothing too serious, just asking me to pay more attention, that's all, I replied, giving her a small smile. Yeah, sure. Just make sure you stop looking at Emily, Natasha spoke out, staring at me. What are you talking about? I asked Natasha, looking across from Amelia. You know what I mean. Come on, Amelia, let's go before we miss our bus, Natasha said, grabbing Amelia. Alright, see you later, Josh, Amelia says as Natasha drags her away. I watched as both Natasha and Amelia headed straight to the doors where the buses are waiting for the students to get on. As I watched, something started bothering me that felt rather weird for it to come up. When did Natasha and Amelia become friends? I asked myself as I tried to find the answer in my head. Nothing came to mind as I thought about it, all remembering memories of just me and Amelia together, not remembering when Natasha showed up or even how we met. I thought about it as I walked to my 3 friends standing around in front of the buses where we usually meet up before heading home. As I walked towards them, I heard the same voice from earlier echoing in my head again. Somebody! Anybody! Is anyone there? It spoke out, but instead of it sounding normal, it sounded more of someone starting to cry while trying to say something. I looked around in the crowd, seeing everyone heading out of the building towards either the buses or a car to leave out of the school grounds. What's wrong? Robert asked me as I walked up to them. Did anyone of you guys hear that? I asked them. Hear what? Frederick replies, unsure what I'm asking. Nope, Petrie answers without a second thought to my question. What did you hear? Robert asked, unsure what I was talking about. It's nothing, I said to them and started walking towards the bus that are getting ready to head off. So, you guys ready for the test on Monday? Robert asked us all to see if anyone might need some help. Yeah, I'm good, Frederick replied out first. I'm always ready, Petrie said proudly. I should be good, I answered. Alrighty then, I'll see you guys tomorrow then, Robert said as he hops into his bus. Okay, later, both Frederick and Petrie said at the same time as they both walked together towards their bus. See ya, I said to them. See you Sunday, Josh, Amelia shouted as I hopped into my bus. I turned around and waved back to her with a smile, remembering that I had plans on Sunday too. As Amelia gets in the bus with Natasha stops and started looking around the area like she lost something important. But she didn't have much time and hops into the bus before the door closed. As I sat in one of the seats in the bus, I looked out of the window and wondered about the voice that I heard twice today. As I pondered and thought, looking out the window, watching the path the bus takes, stopping at some spots to drop off a group of students off, when suddenly I started feeling something that I never felt before. I suddenly felt a chill take over my body, while my instincts started to scream at me as if I was approaching into danger. As we got closer to my stop, the feeling continued to grow as we got close. Before I could realize, the bus arrived at the stop, and the feeling that I felt along the way disappeared. As I get off the bus and as I headed home, I started wondering to myself if I'm starting to get sick from spending too much time on my hobbies. As I headed back to my home, I started to notice how quiet it's been for a while after getting off the bus with other students. Looking around, I found no one walking around with me or any cars usually parked nearby ready to pick up someone, or even the bus that I just got off of. I started to worry, wondering what's going on as I walked a bit faster to my house as fast as possible, feeling the bad omen that I had earlier in the bus. As I rushed, I started to pass by a park, and as I tried to rush past it, I suddenly heard someone crying in the park. I stopped to look around to see where the crying was coming from, and over near the swings, I saw a little girl there. I looked around to see if anyone were around, but nobody was around, just the same emptiness as when I got off the bus. I looked back at the child, and with a bit of hesitation, I started walking towards her. As I walked towards her, I noticed that she was wearing a pure white one-piece dress and a big white hat. She was also wearing a pair of matching sandals that went with her clothes. Seeing her outfit made me wonder if there was a movie being filmed right now. As I got closer to her, I started to see tears running down her face. I walked up to her and crouched down to see eye level with her. What's wrong? Are you lost? I asked. The child didn't say anything to me, but at least stopped crying enough for her to look up at me. She stands up from the swing and backs up a little, looking slightly afraid of me. It looked like she was about to cry again. Please don't cry. I want to help you. I wondered to myself what to do. Is your parents around? She nodded her head, letting me know she didn't know where they were, and started to look like she was about to cry to that. It's okay, I'll help you find your parents. Don't worry. I reached out my hand and hoped that she would trust me to go find her parents. Wow, Josh, sounds way too much of a pervert, President Robert spoke out in the control room. Yeah, that does kind of sound perverted, Josh, Frederick agreeing with Robert. Frederick stands there nodding his head in agreement, looking disappointed. Please don't comment something that make it sound bad instead of good, Josh replies. I should call the police on you since you just admitted a crime, Robert said, taking his phone out. What crime? I didn't do anything, Josh said. He's right. He hasn't done anything yet, Frederick said. Thank you. Wait, yet? Josh said. All right, but if I hear anything bad, then I'm gonna have to call the cops on him, Robert said, putting his phone away. I'm just gonna continue the story, Josh said. If you please, Robert replies. She looks up at me again, looking straight at me with tears in her eyes, hesitant to trust me or not. As I stared into her eyes, I noticed her eyes were normal. On her left eye, the color was white like snow, and her right eye was red like the color of blood. Noticing her eyes made me wonder if she was hurt or a foreigner. But I didn't mind. As she looked at me, she reached over, grabbing onto my hand, giving me a sigh of relief, and started looking around, wondering what to do. We headed up to the first house that was the closest to us in hopes that they saw her parents, or at least what happened. We headed up to the first house that was closest to us in hopes that they saw her parents, or at least knows what happened. I rang the doorbell and waited for someone to come in, hoping if anyone was home right now, feeling a bit nervous. We waited for someone to answer the door, but no one showed up. I rang the doorbell again and knocked on the door before thinking no one was home, and went to the next house over. Walking up to the house, I heard their pet dog barking at us as we walked up to the door, giving me hope that someone was home. At the door, I rang the doorbell, and we waited for someone to come and open the door. But the same thing happened when no one came. Not minding it too much, I continued the search. But at each house we went to, nobody was home. In every house that we we gone up to, nobody was home. Finding out that no one was home in every house that we visited, I thought that something weird was going on. We walked down every house that I passed by, heading closer to my house, peeking into every window to see if anyone was inside. As I searched, the child started getting worried that she might not see her parents again, and her tears started building up in her eyes. Exhausted from walking to every house in the block, I looked down and noticed her concern and patted her head. "It's alright. Everything will be alright, okay? So don't cry," I said, trying to comfort her. She looks up with her tears in her eyes, letting me see her strange color eyes again. "Don't worry. We may not have gotten any clues about your parents, but we'll find something, so don't lose hope, okay?" She smiled and nodded, telling me that she was alright with the idea. I sighed in relief and looked up at the sky, noticing that the sun was almost completely set already. I looked around once more to see if there was anyone walking by or a car driving by, but there were no luck. Looking down the street while walking to the next house, I noticed that it would be harder to search in the dark. I looked over to the child, who hasn't said a single word since we started, and wondered if everything was a coincidence for people disappearing at all. But without thinking, I looked over to the child, seeing her worried about the sun setting. "Hey, why don't you stay the night at my place? It's getting late and we might have a better chance to find your parents tomorrow," I said to her. She looks at me and nods her head with a smile on her face, knowing there was someone looking out for her. Seeing her smile made me relieved to know that she hasn't lost hope in finding her parents yet, and we will continue the search tomorrow. We headed down the neighborhood, heading straight to my house. When we got to my house, it was dark outside, and I knew my parents would be worried about me right now. I breathed in heavily, preparing myself for what's to come. We walked inside my house, and in the kitchen were my parents sitting around the table, worried for me. They both looked over to us, jumping out of their seats, and rushed over to me right away. "Where have you been, Josh?" my mom asked me. "I was out walking around the neighborhood," I replied. "What were you doing out this late?" my dad asked me in slight anger. "Well, Before I got to answer, both my parents noticed a child next to me still holding on to my hand. At that time, my older sister comes down the stairs to see what was going on. "Who's this, Josh?" my mom asked me in confusion of why I came home late with the child. "Okay, well, first, it's not what you're thinking right now. Secondly, this child lost her parents, and I came by from my bus stop and decided to help her find her parents," I said to them. "Okay, that explains why you came home late, but why is she here?" my sister asks me. "Well, I couldn't find anyone around. Literally, you guys are the few people that I found that are here right now," I said. "So you want her to stay the night here and search for her parents again tomorrow?" my sister asked. "Yeah, that's the plan. So, is it alright with you guys?" I said, looking over to my parents. They both looked at each other in concern for a while, then looked at the child again. "Yes, it's alright," they both said. "Thank you," I said, feeling a bit of weight disappearing from my shoulder. "So, what's your name?" my sister asked, sitting on the stairs wondering who the child was. Hearing the question from my sister, I realized that I've completely forgot to ask for the girl's name when we met. "You don't know, do you?" my sister spoke out. "I was getting to it. Eventually," I replied, looking over to the girl clinging to me. Sorry to ask this now, but what's your name?" She looked at me and her mouth started to move to tell me her name, but for some reason I didn't hear her say anything, even though her mouth was moving. She must be shy to say her name right now, but really, Josh, I can't believe you didn't ask her name. My sister sounding disappointed in me for not asking earlier. Hearing my sister say that made me think she didn't notice her mouth moving, so I looked at my parents only to see that they didn't see it either and just thought she didn't say anything at all. Noticing them not reacting to her not saying anything even though she was telling us something made a lot of questions pop in my head that couldn't be explained at all. I walked to the kitchen with the child and sat around the table to have dinner with my family. We all ate dinner without saying anything to one another and let things go by. After we all ate and put away our dishes, I stood up and started walking towards the stairs. Where are you going, Josh? My mom asked, wondering what I was planning on doing for the rest of the night. Going to take a shower, I replied, realizing something important. By the way, can you also give her a shower when you can, Mom? Sure, my mom replied. Sure I can, my mom replies happily. I walked upstairs and into the bathroom and started to fill the tub. As it filled, I started brushing my teeth while thinking about what has happened today. The strange voice that I heard twice today. The unusual lack of people at the bus stop. Then the thought of Natasha acting unusual came to mind and wondered what all that was about. Her reaction was almost the same time as when I heard the voice. Another that popped in my head was the question of when Emilia and I met Natasha and why she has so much hate towards me. So many things were popping into my head while I was in the bathtub that it started giving me a headache, forcing me to stop thinking about it and just relax in the bath. After taking a few minutes in the bath, I came out and dried myself out while thinking about all those questions again. When I came out of the bathroom, I saw my mother and child together getting ready to take a bath together. I stepped aside for them to step into the bathroom before heading into my room, passing by my sister's room. Once I was inside my room, I headed straight to my desk and turned my computer on. As I waited for the computer to turn on, I pondered to myself if I was going to be able to find the girl's parents tomorrow. So many things were going through my head, but one thing came into my head. Why didn't I call the local police people to come by to help? I asked myself, feeling stupid for not realizing to do something common what others would do in the same situation. I noticed my computer fully booted up, and before I started to load up a game in my computer, my door opens behind me. I turn around to see the child wearing what my sister wore when she was a kid. Doesn't she look cute? My mom asked me with a big smile on her face, looking like she was going through memories of the past of when my sister and I were kids again. Yeah, she does, I replied, turning back to my computer. Hey Josh, why don't you try to get to know the child more so that way maybe you can get her name? My mother says to me, passing the girl to me. I'll see what I could do, I replied, looking back to the girl. I looked down to the girl to see her eyes hasn't changed at all when I met her. Hey, Mom, do you think that her eyes look a bit strange? I asked. No, they look normal to me. Why? My mom replied. It's nothing. Just thought I saw something strange in her eyes, I said. Thinking about the time that no one was able to hear her say something to us, but also adding with that my mom saying her eyes looked normal, I was able to confirm that something was off. Okay. Oh, Josh, well, you don't mind letting her sleep with you tonight, right? My mom asked. Why? I asked. Mother intuition. My mom replies, laughing a bit to herself. I looked down to the girl, wondering why she was left alone in the first place and what kind of parents she has. But I decided not to think too much on it and just shrugged it off. The only thought that lingered was that I was the only person that seems to notice the eyes and her trying to talk with us. Were they just ignoring it, or did they just not notice it at all? I wondered to myself, trying to figure out if my family was playing a trick on me. Scratching my head in wonder of what's been going on today, I looked over to the girl, staring at me, wondering what I was doing. So, where are you from? I asked her. The girl looks up at me and I see her mouth moving, letting me know she was talking, but again no sound was coming out. She looks around and points over to the notebook that was on my desk. Seeing her point to it, I grabbed the notebook and a pencil. She grabs the notebook, writing something in it before handing it back to me. I guess this can help me talk with her. I looked at the paper to see a language I'd never seen before, almost like it was a mixture between different languages from across the world. Seeing her write something that I never saw before made me wonder who her parents were and where they were from. So many questions popped in my head after that, and I didn't say anything to her again. I looked at the time and noticed that time flew by quick, probably because I was lost in my train of thoughts. I stood up from my chair, and the child stood up along with me. We both turned to my bed. Hello, please. I'd like to report a crime. President Robert calls it to his phone. Hello. This is the police. Shut the fuck up and stop jumping to a conclusion. Josh's voice spoke out through his phone. Looking through the window, Robert finds Josh having his phone out talking with him. Well, how you made it sound, it did make it sound like you were about to do it, Frederick spoke out in the room. Both PG and Robert nod their heads in shame at Josh for saying something like that. Fair enough, but is there really a way to not make it sound like a crime? Josh asked, putting his phone away. Well, that's impossible, Robert replied. Yeah, no matter what we say, it'll just sound inappropriate, making people think of stuff like that, Frederick explained. We just wanted to point that out to you, Josh. PG follows along with the group. Well then, why did you have to stop me from the story then? Josh asked. Easy. We wanted our audience to know that it wasn't going out their route at all, Robert answers. I think they should know it wasn't in the first place, Josh said with his arm crossed. Better safe than sorry, Josh, Petrie answered. Josh sighing out frustration and continues on along with the story. Anyway, I set the child down and watched her fall asleep first before I started dozing off while my mind started to recap of today's event. The weird voice that I heard in school, Natasha's weird behavior, the missing people from the neighborhood, and finally this child that I found in the park. I pondered and thought of what all of them till my consciousness fades away, falling asleep. While I was sleeping in my dream, I saw a figure in front of me, but I couldn't see who it was. I'm sorry, Josh. A voice calls out to me. I'm sorry. The sun shining through my window, hitting my eyes, woke me up from my dream. I sat up on my bed, looking around to see if anything changed overnight, to see nothing moved or change whatsoever. I looked beside me, seeing the child next to me sleeping soundly, looking like she was having a very sweet dream. I got on my bed and headed to my door, and as quietly as possible. As I opened the door, I peeked around to see if any of my family members are awake, but it seems like I was the first one up. Thinking I'm the first, I get out of my room and walk to the bathroom to get washed up for the day. While I walked to the bathroom, I started feeling something that I never felt before. The feeling of being reborn into something new, something more dangerous that people should be aware of. As I entered the bathroom and closed the door behind me, I reached for the light switch so I could see myself in the mirror. As the lights turned on and my eyes adjusted to the brightness in the room, I looked at myself with features that I didn't have before. On top of my head, I saw two bright blue flames, almost looking like they were shaped like ears, and my eyes changed into red-colored demonic-looking eyes, and a pair of wings shaped bright blue flames on my back. The moment I saw myself in the mirror, I stumbled back to the wall, as I could only draw a blank on my face, unable to grasp of what was going on. I quickly pinched my cheeks to make sure I wasn't dreaming, and for sure I felt the pinch. Understanding that I was not dreaming, I reached over to the ear-shaped planes on my head to see if they were somehow fake and someone was pranking me. The moment I tried to grab them, my hand passes through them, but didn't feel anything from them, not even the heat from them. What the f*** is going on here? I asked myself in my head after trying to reach the ears, suddenly noticing the wings slowly moving closer to the hanging towels and setting them on fire. I tried not to yell out in panic and quickly took a towel and put them under the sink to put the fire out. I turned the water on and watched as the flames didn't go out right away while under the water. As I watched, the wings set another towel on fire and started melting some plastic bottles that were my sister's makeup. I hold back from screaming while keeping the wings from getting close to anything. Quickly, I turned the fan on in the bathroom, hoping the smell of something burning doesn't reach outside the bathroom. Finally, everything calms down, letting me look back at the mirror, seeing my reflection again. What's going on? I pondered in my thought as I looked at the mirror. I hear footsteps outside the room heading towards the door. Looking over, I see I haven't locked the doors yet and felt myself panicking, thinking what my parents would think if they saw this. I jumped over to the door and quickly locked it before whoever was outside the door could get in. Josh? You okay? My mom asks, knocking on the door. I looked around trying to find ways to hide the new add-ons to my body, but the towels that were set in the bathrooms were all burnt from my wings. I tried to think of an excuse or a way to get out of the situation before I hear the doorknobs moving. Josh, you okay in there? Why do I smell something burning in there? My mom asked, trying to get in. It's nothing. I don't smell anything at all, I said, believing that she wasn't going to believe that excuse. I didn't hear anything from my mom or anything from the door for a while. Okay. Just making sure you're alright in there, my mom says, leaving the door. I sighed in relief, surprised my mom with that excuse, and looked around to figure out what to do from here. Oh, Josh, my mom spoke out, giving me a scare. I'm going out for a while with your dad. We won't be back till late at night, okay? Okay, I replied, trying to sound normal as possible. I listened closely as I hear my mom's footsteps finally headed downstairs, and I sigh again in relief. What the is going on with me? I asked myself under my breath before hearing another footstep coming up to the door. Hey Josh, I hear my sister along with the sound of a crack. I'm going out with friends, okay? Oh, okay. Drive safe. I replied, seeing the counter cracked and some pieces from it in my hands. You okay in there? My sister asked me, knocking on the door. Everything's fine, don't worry, I replied, turning the water off. You sure? I thought I heard something in there, she asked. It's nothing, just go and have fun with your friends, okay? I'm planning to hang out with my friends soon too, I said. Okay, bye Josh, she says, finally leaving. Bye, have a nice day, I said, falling on my knees, trying to calm myself down. After a while in the bathroom and gaining my composure, I looked at the towel, seeing a little lit fire still going in the water-filled sink, and looked in the mirror to see the flames again. Usually people would be freaked out about this, right? I asked myself. So, why does this feel natural? I exited out of the bathroom and headed straight to my room. Did that girl do this to me? How? And why would she do this? What exactly happened to cause this? I wondered to myself as I headed back to my room. As I got closer to my room, I felt of some other presence that was coming from a room that I never felt before. Didn't everyone already leave for today? I wondered to myself as I slowly opened the door to my room. In my room, I saw two people that I never saw before inside. One was a woman wearing a beautiful white dress, and her long blonde hair were gorgeous, making you wonder if she was a famous actress or a model. She was sitting on my bed next to the child, gently stroking her hair with a gentle smile on her face. The other one was a man who was wearing what appeared to be a suit that was missing a tie and was poorly put on, and his hair looking like he just got out of bed. He was standing next to a woman, happy seeing the child sleeping soundly on my bed. Seeing them, I quietly reached for my phone on my desk, but the man notices me before I could grab it. Good morning! Sorry to barge in without any warning, the man said. I looked towards them, grabbing my phone while keeping my guards up. You okay? You seem kinda tired still, the woman asks. He seems a bit cautious with us, the man says. Well, I guess that makes sense. Two people he never has seen before just appeared in his room, the woman says. May I ask you all something? I asked them, stopping their conversation with each other. Both looked over to me, waiting patiently for me to ask them something. I don't know who you guys are, but you guys better to get the out of my house or I'm calling the cops, I said, dialing 911. Oh, right, our apologies. My name is Satan, and over here is my wife, God. And that's about all the time I have for this video. I hope you guys all enjoyed it, because I kind of did. I'll try my best not to procrastinate in the future for the story. Like I said, I'll try to upload this once a month. At least once a month. Maybe you might get 2 a month. Who knows? So, if you guys liked it, leave a like and comment. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel to be notified for future videos. Thank you guys all for watching. I'll see you guys all next time. Bye.